I assume that I am wrong at least half of the time. That's something that was a revelation maybe about 5 years ago. Around my 35th birthday, I started realizing how the world actually works, like that my opinion doesn't actually matter outside of how I treat people personally, how emotion is always something you get to assign to people and things. So if you don't want to be offended, you don't have to be offended. Things like that I started learning. But I also started learning, man, I've been wrong about a lot of things in life. So what if I'm wrong right now about the thing I believe? There's a meme that you can look up. I guess it's Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. I've never watched the show, but he says, don't you think if I were wrong, I'd know it? And see, that's how most people, that's hilarious, but it's also sad. Metallica, it's sad but true, because that's how a lot of people feel about their opinions and their views. Don't you think if I were wrong, I would know it? No, you wouldn't think you were wrong. You would think that you were right. But one of the secrets in life, and this was backed up as I finished this book this week, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. The thing is, and he teaches this principle too, and he goes all the way back to Socrates talking about the same thing, that if you think that you're right and you feel very confident that you are, that's probably a red flag that you're not right. And it goes back to the ancient Chinese proverb, who knows what is right and who knows what is wrong? It's largely impossible to know that. And life is a journey, and we sort those things out. And even with the life experience I've had, with all the failures I've had in life and all the successes I've had in life, you learn from that. But still, it doesn't change the fact that you're necessarily right any more often now than before. It means you know how to manage certain situations better, but then there's always going to be that next level of you not knowing how to handle it and not really knowing for sure. So yeah, you do have to sort of ask around and study and research and decide, well, I have an opinion about this, I have a view, I have a belief, but could I be wrong? I've learned the answer is always not, yeah, you could be wrong, and there's a good chance you are. I mean, to say that I'm wrong at least half the time, that's almost vanity. That's almost arrogance on my part. Because it may be even less the time that I'm actually right. It may be less than 50. And ultimately, though, it's a sign of personal growth. When you can get to the point of every day thinking, there's at least a 50% chance I'm wrong about whatever I think. When you can go through life, what that means is it's going to make you more open-minded. It's going to help you in life to navigate those relationships, those situations, especially relationships. That's largely what it is. You know, they say you hurt those that you love the most. Of course. Because if you're around someone more and you invest more emotionally in them, it's more likely that when you disagree about something, it's going to be more of a sharper situation, a sharper disagreement, even if it seems like a petty topic. So in those relationships, what if you're wrong? What if you are confident that you're right and you know for a fact you can Google it and prove it? Should you? No. That's exactly what Dale Carnegie says and what I've learned from being alive for 40 years. Especially when you can prove a person wrong, don't. Because what that person really needs from you is you trusting in them and believing in them and giving them credibility, making them feel important. So even if they need to hold on to this false fact, let them, because then they respect you more. It's okay to let other people be wrong. Maybe that should be the title of this video. It's okay to let people think that they're right when they're wrong. In fact, it's probably better. I mean, unless they're about to endanger themselves and jump off a cliff and lose their life. I mean, unless you're saving their life, it's better for you in a relationship with them, even if you don't even know them well, even if it's an acquaintance. Unless you're keeping them from hurting themselves, you're better off letting them think that they're right, even when you can Google it and prove them wrong. Because if you prove someone wrong, you lose their respect. So, am I wrong most of the time? Probably. When I definitely think I'm right, am I wrong? Probably. When I know for a fact the other person's wrong because I can easily Google it, and I have done that when I was less mature, I've done that. And what I learned from that? Those people didn't respect me to the same level that they did before once I proved them wrong. Because what they really wanted, they wanted me to respect them. They needed that to believe that they were holding the truth. And I took that away from them. So I took away the real commodity that I had. The power I had in that relationship was actually going along with what they said. Instead, I took that away from them, and that hurt those relationships. I know that now. Certain things you learn by living long enough. And then other things you have to learn by reading a book. In my case, the book confirmed what life has already been teaching me. That this is reality. To assume that you're not wrong at least half the time is only a sign that you're just not that mature yet. You haven't realized how the world actually works. That even when you're right, if you prove someone wrong, then ultimately, by default, you're wrong. Can you relate to this? Have you experienced this? I'd be happy to hear about it right here in the comments.